Eat this, drink that, go.
Remember the wait times at the HCA East Florida Hospital emergency rooms? Average in the single day, it's less than 10 minutes. Just go to hcaeastflorida.com. They list all their wait times for all their emergency rooms there. And they update those times every 30 minutes. You'll be ready in case of an emergency because they do not wait for appointments. We're back here at Joe Stone Crab, the iconic restaurant, and certainly in South Florida, but one in the country when you think about it. You just have to say Joe's and everybody knows what you mean. We're joined by Steve Seg6 and the owner and his family's owned the business for 106 years. And Brian Johnson, who's the general manager. For how many years you've been here at this establishment?
We started tail end of 1980.
39 years.
It's hard to hold a job.
He has trouble keeping a job. That's the problem. Both have been through so many great stories here, so many things that have happened. And I want to talk about Super Bowl. You have a Super Bowl story for us?
My Super Bowl story happened with the Chicago and Colts being played down here.
Right.
So just before Super Bowl was happening, the media was saying, don't go to South Beach. It's really busy. You'll never get there. So we opened up on a Tuesday night at 5 o'clock. Nobody was here. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So about 10 minutes after 5, here comes the whole coaching staff of Chicago. So Lovie Smith was here and the whole crew. So, okay, you sat him on one side of the main dining room. 15 minutes later, here comes the whole coaching staff of the Colts. And now I put him on the other side of the dining room. And again, there's still nobody else here. 10 minutes later, 5 of the 8 referees for the Super Bowl were here. They sat down the middle. So now I got Lovie and his crew saying, hey, go tell them that. And as I'm walking by the referees, I say, they want me to say this. Next thing I know, there goes the white napkin in the air, right? And I'm like, and now the Colts, same thing. They tell me that, and I go walking by, there goes the napkin again. So this went on, I want to say until about 6 o'clock. And then we started getting busy.
Right.
But at that point, you can't plan that.
No, you can't.
And it's just something that was, my whole staff was just like in awe of seeing this happen.
Right.
So
I guess that was Tony Dungy's crew, right? On
Yes.
the Colts side, yeah. And the Colts won that one, of course, and we've got the Super Bowl this year, 100th anniversary in 2020 in February, so they'll all be here. I would imagine both your jobs are hard in the sense that everybody wants to come. Everybody wants to get seated right away.
I said everyone's so important.
Yeah,
what do
very
you
much
do?
so, right. And if it's a Super Bowl or not a Super Bowl, it doesn't matter. How do you handle that?
The best you can.
Right.
You know, we don't accept reservations, but we do try to accommodate people that absolutely really can't wait. I mean, for instance,
Physically, yeah.
yeah, and you know, if you're someone like Norman Brayman or you're Cindy Crawford or Michael
Right.
Caine or Spike Lee, you're going to get them seated one
Right.
way or the other.
Right. You know, I've been sitting out in the lobby, waiting for a long period of time with that. That's not the easiest. That's got to be hard. It's got to be difficult.
it is, but it's interesting, you know. I got one other Super Bowl story I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
It was during that same time period, and it was the Saturday before it. So The Rock was here having lunch, and he's sitting there eating, and a woman comes up to him and says, excuse me, my son is a huge fan. And he's like, look, let me finish eating. I'll come over to the table. Really, very nice, very personable. So he gets up, he finishes eating, he walks up. The young man, I think he was about 6 or 7 years old, had his back to him. Taps him on the shoulder. The kid turns around, looks up at him, and passed out. And The Rock caught him. And, I mean, again, another one of those.
How great is that?
So,
Perfect.
Yeah, it is.
Superhero.
He has a story for life, doesn't he?
Oh, there's no doubt. I passed out at shows because of The Rock. You know, gotta love it.
I asked Steve this in the previous segment about the most famous person who's ever eaten here. Do you have your famous person?
Well, that's a hard one to call because you know what? There are so many different people that have come through our doors. But I did really enjoy it with George Bush Jr.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. He was here with Jeb, who was the governor at the time. And the governor had just made key lime pie the state pie of Florida. So as he's sitting down, and he was sitting with some of the Perfect Dolphin season, Jim Kick was there and some of the gentlemen were there. So everybody's thanking the governor. And so the president looks over at his brother, oh, my chopped liver? And I had to answer him. I said, yeah, but you didn't make the state pie of Florida, key lime pie. So that was a lot, and he was very down to earth.
Yeah.
Both of them were very down to earth, and it really made a difference. You kind of looked at him a little differently then.
Yeah, I bet.
Now, what are some of the memories you have with your grandfather growing up here?
Actually,
I mean, you
it's-
grew up here.
Some of my fondest memories of my 62 years on this planet are with my grandfather, actually. And
Y'all had a special relationship.
we had an amazing bond, and he would, come downstairs and work the floor or bring Howard Cosell into the kitchen where I was working and say, Stevie, if you won't go out to the mountain, I'll bring the mountain to you. And because I was embarrassed to go out, to the dining room back then. But he would, we would actually go to Super Bowls, like to San Francisco to the Super Bowl. We would go.
Oh, that's right.
We went without tickets, without a car, and without a hotel reservation. But my grandfather would, at each stop along the way, when it came to getting a car, Oldsmobile had a car for him, waiting for him. Jesse Weiss, oh yes, we have your car ready. We'd get to the St. Francis Hotel. Papa, do we have a reservation? No, but I know somebody. And son of a gun. Then Super Bowl tickets. I got a friend named Joe Brown, and Joe Brown got him the Super Bowl tickets. And everything just kind of happened with him. But we used to travel everywhere together. This is before cell phones, before anything. And all we did was talk. We had each other. It was uninterrupted time with each other. And even the silence between the conversations was wonderful.
Right.
It was great.
Just
It was such an
spending time
easy
together.
life. But we did, he introduced me to so many people, and actually they were attracted to him. They loved being around him. He was such a neat guy. And I met Coach Shula through him. I met Larry King through him, Jack Parr, Howard Cosell.
Now, what were some of your many jobs over the years? Like what was your first job?
Well, peeling potatoes was and that's where you kind of started
They
out.
put you to work.
Oh, no doubt. If you want to get that model at the 5 and 10 cent store, you got to earn $1 an hour. That's what it was. And I would come in on Saturdays or during holidays, Christmas holiday, and just peel potatoes all day long. 8 hours. I got $8. That was a big deal back then. But I started when I was about 8, but then it got more steady when I got my car. And my parents said, if you want a car and you want to get gas, you got to help pay for this. I said, well, what do you want me to do? Oh, you got to work on the weekends at the restaurant. Well, my friends don't work you're going to work on the weekends. So I also peeled potatoes. I cleaned the dishwasher. We peeled shrimp. We cleaned the tile. We had to clean the employees' bathrooms. We did everything. When I say we, there was a crew of people, and their assignments were set up by Calvin, who used to be here. He started here in 1958.
Yeah.
So this was in the 70s. He passed away in 2008.
Yeah,
Give or take.
50 years.
But he missed one day of work for a funeral.
Wow.
That's a world record.
Yeah, it sure is. Really, when you look at Joe's, it is the history of South Florida. But as you listen to Steve and Brian talk, it's the history of the country. Jack Parr, Muhammad Ali, it's the
All
history
of
of
the
country.
presidents over the
And
years.
from a different walk of life, all of them, but they love to come here. And one of the things you do well, and I know you have a large part of it now too, is hiring the right people. You've got
We have a great team.
people here.
Thank you.
Great team of
Really,
people.
they really are. But that starts from you and your mom, and then it flows down to Brian, and Brian,
It's a lifelong job for people here.
it is, isn't it?
Yeah, so hopefully.
The longest
Hopefully.
serving waiter that you know.
Moses.
Yeah, it would have been Nat Allen.
It would have been Nat,
Away.
but we
He
lost-
started
we lost
in
Nat last
68.
year.
Moses started in the early 70s
70.
as a busser
Yes,
and worked his way. And JT, Bones,
71.
Bones.
Right?
he started here in 71, but he's a seating captain and a maitre d'.
Yes.
Now, these folks, if you just say Bones too, a lot of people say, "Oh, Bones, it's Joe." I know Bones, right?
Everybody knows Bones.
He's a huge man. And he's got this booming voice,
Yes.
and he
He's a
can
wonderful man.
get your attention, and he gets you
And
a
he
table
gives
at Joe.
great hugs.
Yeah, he does.
That
Great
and
hugs.
enjoy as hell.
Right. It's hard to come to Joe Stonecrab and not have Stonecrab.
Yeah.
I understand that. It's difficult. But you know what? Get a big pile for the table and then branch out and try some of the other things. Their
surf and
fried
turf.
chicken is spectacular. My kids love theirs. The lamb chops in coffee.
The lobster
citrus wrap,
roll
yes.
at takeout is
Yes.
amazing.
They do.
becoming just as big as the stone crab in so many ways, the lobster roll that Ronnie makes.
They open October 15th for the season. That's when stone crab season begins, and that's when Joe's opens. But in the meantime, the takeout is here with all the wonderful things that I've been mentioning to you. Most of them are available during the
It's
off-season
a great
as
gift
well.
for the holidays too.
Yeah, it sure is.
Ship some
Steve,
stone crab.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Pleasure
Jimmy.
to see you.
Thank you, Brian.
Brian, thank
Steve.
you.
Always.
We'll come back with more right after this on Eat This, Drink That, Go.